Bledisloe Cup, number 1, All Blacks versus Wallabies, Eden Park, 2025. Also Rugby Championship. Well, what a game, eh? I don't know if I'd call it a game of two halves, but certainly a game of periods of ascension from each team without anybody actually dominating throughout the game. Yeah, let's break it down, eh? Well, great start for the All Blacks. Very crisp, focused attack. Cam Roigard back running the show. Yeah, makes a really big difference. That quick pass. It's also not just his quick pass. You watch the speed that he gets to the ruck. Sometimes almost sprinting. He must be great at the Broncos. Sprinting from ruck to ruck, spreading the ball wide, shifting defenses wider than they really want to be away from the ruck, and then pulling them tight to the ruck again, or sniping around the corners himself. Just always asking questions. Always keeping the ruck defense honest. They know that they got to stick close to the ruck because he's quick. He can get around that corner very quickly. But he can also pass. And he can also kick. It's a big deal having him back, I must say. The other one's back in and playing well. Caleb Clark, high ball, looking very good. Great start to the game. Daddy singing the anthem. Oh, that was really cool. Ironi singing the national anthem and Caleb Clark crying during the national anthem, realizing the dad singing. Oh. All Black legacy right there, isn't it? Caleb, great start to the game as well, looking very secure under the high ball, looking powerful when he carries, and an early try. Jordie Barrett appears to be our guy for the high ball. The answer is to drop him back and take all the box kicks coming from the likes of Tate McDermott. And, well, he was great. Yeah, straight into it. No problems at all. So, yeah, perhaps this is the way forward, eh? Okay, so early on, basically, they managed to shift the points of attack central and then wide, central and then wide. And twice they looked for the isolation with Caleb Clark on Jorgensen, I think, on the right wing. And, well, the second time it worked and Caleb Clark scored. That's pretty much rugby for you, isn't it? Look to try and get yourselves a one-on-one with a talented player taking on a talented defender, and let's see if you can get over the line. Anyway, after the opening 5, and this is the problem with the All Blacks currently, Cam Roigard, high ball, after the first 5 minutes, and this is the problem with current All Black rugby. Cam Roigard puts up a high kick, box kick, and nobody challenges. I think Leroy Carter was closest. It wasn't a great kick, but nobody got a hand on it. Nobody looked like they wanted to get a hand on it. Australia did. Wallabies grabbed it and they ran hard. Man, Harry Wilson carries with some real gusto and guts, doesn't he? And they punished the All Blacks just by quickly smashing it up the guts, and they get a penalty. They get the turnover and they deserve it. So Australia utilised this tactic of just quick pick and go kind of style, or very close to the ruck, hard running, fast ruck turnover, and running 2 players right close beside each other. Harry Wilson carried a lot and very well. Suali'i just outside him. So defensive lines aren't sure if they're going for the guy with the ball or the guy who looks like he's going to receive the ball, and there's often people getting tackled off the ball. Fair enough. Penalty against Billy Proctor. How long are they going to let this happen, where you can run a player right beside you who's essentially protecting you from a tackle on the side? I'm not just talking about the Wallabies. I'm talking about all teams doing this at the moment. It's not a maul. It's not 2 players in contact, so you can't hit the maul. Well, you're not supposed to hit a maul from the side anyway, but you're essentially protecting a player. Yeah, interesting. Interesting how they're running this these days. And at some point, is there going to be a law change to make it a little bit like you can't escort players catching the ball in the air? Let's see what happens, World Rugby. I think Tupova'i got 3 turnovers, but also gave up a number of penalties for entering the ruck from the side or just losing his footing. And yeah, he had a real game of ups and downs, highs and lows. I guess that's a little bit how the game goes. You're pushing it to the line, and whether you get caught by the ref or not is discovering where the line is. Yeah, anyway, the concern for me early on, a couple of little moments of concern, and this is what I mean about confidence in the team. Both Tupova'i and Tyrell Lomax get the ball first carrier off the ruck, and they don't know what to do. There's a stutter step, there's a bit of sideways movement, and then eventually they're carrying forward. Can we at least default to immediately carrying forward and trying to make the gain line? What's the plan? Are we trying to set a ruck for a quick turnover? Are we trying to look for an offload? It doesn't seem to be clear. And if the forwards don't have a clear game plan on how they're supposed to carry the ball, then we're never going to get front foot ball. So they got to figure it out. Either you're smashing into the ruck, trying to set it up, or you're going into contact looking for an offload, or you're heading into contact, doing one of those little moves like Australia did, hitting your guy right beside you, maybe getting a penalty, maybe setting them through a little gap. At the moment, they don't even know if they're looking for contact or gaps. Our forwards, are we going for contact or gaps? I don't know. Eventually, the All Blacks build phases. Jordie Barrett gets another good carry. Artie powers ahead. There's a pick and go. Roygaard has a crack. And then Leroy Carter does. And they score. Both teams at the moment are benefiting from fast ruck ball, pick and go movement around that area. But at the moment, the ABs are scoring tries and the Wallabies are not. There's too many unforced errors from the Wallabies, basically. In the first half, they're dropping the ball. They don't look convincing. James O'Connor had a shocker. Man, how many times did he miss touch? I'll get to the miss of the miss in a minute. Anyway, the Harry Wilson gets pinged for a couple of tackling with his head. Jesus Christ, he's just running straight down and chucking his face at the dirt. That does not look like a very fancy way to tackle, mate, but good on you. The line-out drive does not work for the ABs, but eventually we just keep running it until they run out of numbers and Cam Roygaard scores by the posts. So, yeah, we're looking good. We're looking pretty good, actually. We're good from the restarts. Jordie Barrett's taking the restarts. Scrums all right, solid. Caleb Clark looks good. Jordie Barrett looks good. Cam Roygaard looks good. Here's the thing. O'Connor had a shocker. Man, James O'Connor. Whew. He did some beautiful things, but he's so much better a player than he showed on Saturday night. He'll bounce back. I hope for his case that he does. But yeah, he didn't miss touch twice. He missed touch 3 times from penalties. And one of them, it bounced inside the field of play and nobody caught it. Caleb Clark realized way too late that that was his line to be protecting, and Will Jordan, I don't know where the hell he was. But basically, Ethan de Groot gets pinged for holding on to the ball. They got a penalty basically halfway, right in the middle of the field, and O'Connor kicks a shocker again for touch, and nobody's there to take it. Now, that's the kind of basic stuff that, like, yeah, O'Connor had a shocker, but then you can't just reply by also having a shocker if you want to win the game. So maybe that's why the game was so close. Anyway, penalties start mounting up against the All Blacks and Australia strike. Ikitau, man, Len Ikitau carried the ball. He was like an extra forward, and he just, yeah, he's a little bit like Ardie Savea when he gets around that ruck maul situation with his carries and the legs pumping and this strength for a not a huge guy, you know. Yeah, very impressive. But yeah, they bash away at the line and Pollard pick and go easy. Looked like, where the hell was the defense? They'll be pausing that moment a lot throughout this week and asking the defenders where the hell they were and where they thought they should have been and why they weren't in the place where they actually could have stopped the try. I don't know. The All Blacks, they get a bit lazy. D-Mac contests the ball in the end, doesn't get it. They come back for a knock on. The Wallabies are building. They're building phases, and the All Blacks just don't look like they quite understand how to defend it. You can clearly see the defensive line on the right, Leroy Carter, etc., just yelling at people to head out that way. And they do. But then by the time they get there, Daniela Tupou runs at Leroy Carter and I think Jordie Barrett, and it's just it's a mismatch. The two backs have to commit to Daniela Tupou, and because he turns the ball around very quickly, it's just a pick up and charge across the line. Very, very simple. So basically, 3 of the tries so far just look like wearing the opposition down and then walking over. Well, so in the first half, I'd say it's a case of penalties costing the All Blacks and just mistakes costing the Wallabies. Simple drops, line-up, misses, knock-ons. Yeah, not quite connecting all the time. When they're good, they look great. Both teams look good when they're great. Yeah. But here's the thing. Partway through the second half, discipline starts to turn the other way. Mounting pressure on the All Blacks with penalties towards the end of the first half completely flips. Now the Aussies are getting penalised all the time. Most of the time correctly too. There were a couple of slightly dubious ones, but yeah, it's the old, if you can't put your hands on the ground to get your weight off the ground to then pick up the ball. That's the rule. Essentially, elbows down and stuff is what Biardi was trying to say they're not supposed to do. Once again, it's fine lines, and if you can play it perfectly, then you'll do well. And if you don't, you get penalised. It seems to just be, depending on the referee, depending on the teams, someone's going to cop it. I haven't seen one game this year where I feel the referees have been consistent around the rules at the Ruck and Maul breakdown situation. Not one these days. Anyway, let's not blame the ref for everything. It was a good, fun game. Lots of intensity. But now the tables have turned. The All Blacks are making forward pass errors. They're knocking the ball on, Roygaard included. And the penalties are mounting up on Team Australia, the Wallabies, pounding away at the line, trying to get the ball. Is it just the pressure? Is it fitness? What is it? I'm not sure what's getting to the guys at this stage, but it's a real ding-dong battle. O'Connor misses touch again. Wow. As much as Bodie missing a couple of kicks for goal goes, O'Connor missing touch multiple times. That's a real coach killer. Caleb Clark goes off and Tupaia goes on. Quinn Tupaia playing wing, obviously not his position, but man, he made a go of it. He carried hard. He set up that try. Gets an assist for that. Yeah, fantastic. I thought I know he wasn't the centre pairing with Jordie Barrett, but should he be? So D-Mac manages to kick a couple of penalty goals to give a little bit of breathing space, but the Wallabies will not lie down. And man, when they chuck the ball around, their hands, they look good. What do? Just practice with freaking bars of soap or something? It was raining in Auckland, of course. And they just chucked it around, and their handling skills were amazing in the second half. Jordie Barrett just manages to keep them from the line. Terrible clearing kick, but they survive, but not for long. Line-out drive. Couldn't see anything of it except for the referee pointing and saying they scored. But there you go. A line-out drive worked. Congratulations, Wallabies. They got over. So 2 points in it with not long to go. But then Geordie Barrett, Quinn Tupaia and Cam Roigard just running those beautiful inside lines. Barrett and Tupaia were crossing the gain line regularly. Makes a big difference. It makes a really big difference. And Roigard, well, he just runs the game, man. So there you go. Roigard gets over to score the try and essentially win the game. We end with the front row getting a penalty. So the All Blacks finally get some ascendancy in the front row as well as a 100% line out. I don't know, man. I'm finding it really hard to get excited about the All Blacks when they play like this. I still feel like they're playing 50% of the game. And I'm not sure what they're doing in the other 50% of the game. I think they're asking questions of themselves and each other instead of the opposition. Yeah. It's hard to tell. They always tell us that they're confident, but I don't feel like they're playing with the kind of confidence that Sasha Feinberg Guamazulu is playing with. Now, tune to that radio station. He's starting to look like Dan Carter or Bodie Barrett. Early days. Early days. Early days to talk about that, but he looks amazing. Yeah. Okay. All Blacks came through. Bledisloe Cup is going to stay in New Zealand for another year. Wallabies looking good, desperate, little unlucky. They're going to be hard to beat in Perth. Let's go.